Okay, so this is the card that we're going to be making this evening. It's the Happy Birthday to You stamp set, which is a Sale-A-Bration product, something that you can earn for a $50 purchase out of either the annual catalog or the occasions catalog, the one that's called the mini catalog. The name of it, I believe, is Handcrafted for You. And it's the catalog that's going, it started January and goes to June, which is about the time that our new catalog comes out. So, okay. One of the things, in making this card, one of the things I wanted to talk about is the importance of going back into your card stash and looking at your, well, the cards that you purchased during the holidays, perhaps. This one is called Brightly Gleaming Specialty Card Design Set, the DSP. And while these were designed for the holidays, remember that Stampin' Up! Does two sides to their cards. And while one side may be particularly relevant for a particular holiday, the reverse side is not. And so it can be used for practically any event. And so that's what we're going to be using tonight, is cardstock from this card pack. And the one I chose is, let me get this back in here. The supplies that we have are, now you can use any cardstock, like I said. So this is just the one that I chose, okay, for this card. It's the back side of the different ornaments that had the copper design for the metallic paper. I just thought this would look really good on a card for a man or even a woman, I mean, for that matter. But anyway, I chose it for a particular man. I have a stamp that was created for me, and I stamp my cards with it, handcrafted just for you, and then my name, stampyourlove.com. And my cards are, for the most part, created with one particular person in mind, so they are a specialty card. And that's just something I've decided to do. Why am I getting texts? Okay. Okay. So, anyhow. So the paper we're going to be using is, first we're going to use a piece of the, not very vanilla, anyhow, the white cardstock that's cut at 4.5 or 4 1/4. No, it's cut by, sorry, it's cut by 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the center at 4 1/4. That is our regular size card. You'll also need a piece that is cut 4 by 5 1/4. That would be for the inside. You'll also need a layering piece that is cut 4 by 5. Now this is 4 1/8, cut at 5 3/8. Okay, and then this piece here is cut 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then you'll need a piece of scrap. My piece is of a thick cardstock of the Whisper White. Whisper White cardstock, but it's thick. Okay, and then you'll need a piece of scrap vellum, just a small piece of scrap vellum is all you'll need, enough to do the little wispies out. This is a die that's inside with the happy birthday dies is what they're called, I guess. And that's that's in there. So you'll need a piece of scrap vellum for that. And then you'll need this piece here will be enough to do your cake plate. Okay, you cut your cake plate out of that, and we're going to cut out 2 stamps of the cake with the flowers on top. Okay, so let's put this aside and we'll start working on our items. Okay, now I chose to do this using my Stamparatus. Okay, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, I can do it 2 things at once, and I can get it as dark as I need it. Okay, and that's the benefit of doing this. And I've already set this up on my, let me put this down here. It's always good to have something the height of a stamp box, or like it's paper, you know, to support the Stamparatus when you go to stamp the ink on your die. Okay, like this. See, we didn't get it very well, so we're going to do it again. Much better. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to keep my stamp in the same spot, but I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to rotate it around and put it at the same spot as this one, and it will give me enough room to do that. To stamp it again. And I should have given you the size of this because I was able to cut my cake plate out of this piece too. It fits very well. Okay, that looks really good. Okay. Okay, so let's clean that off. We got the Stampin' the chamois, Stampin' chamois. Okay, so we can move this out of the way. We got this stamped. Now we want to stamp our happy birthday. We put that the same spot as we did this. And we did this with Versamark because it is embossed. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to use our embossing buddy, which this removes the oils and things from the paper that normally would cause the embossing powder to stick, and we don't want it to stick there. We only want it to stick where we have the adhesive or the watermark stamp. And the stamp apparatus, you can also load from the top and the whoops, that's off. I'm glad I checked. Okay, let's do it right about. Let me get my head in there, people. I want to get it straight. Sorry about that. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, but I don't feel like it stuck on there clearly enough, so let's just do that again. I hope I got that down right. I guess we'll know when we pick it up, huh? Okay, so now let's take it off of here. Let's go ahead and clean our die. I'm going to leave that there just in case this doesn't work. That way we won't have to reset anything. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera here. But we're going to use our white powder here. I have a little spoon here, but it gets all kind of messy. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's see how that looks when we dry it. We're going to use the heat gun. We'll use it at there's two settings to the heat gun. And this is the Stampin' Up! Heat gun. And it has the second is for the embossing powders, and you'll see when the powder turns to a metallic, you'll know that it's done. Now I've heard some suggest that you do this from the reverse, which makes the paper curl the right way, and I've tried both. There you go. Now you can see it turn, and it keeps you from burning it, I think, easier, and it goes much faster. There we go. Very nice. Very pretty. gorgeous. I'd like to wipe off my table here for doing that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, I'm just going to show you how to color this with the Stampin' blends. Okay, I made a chocolate cake because the person I'm sending this to likes chocolate cake. So, just basically went in here and hit all of the areas, you know, because I'm not doing a light and dark with this. I just used the one tone color. So, this is the easiest way of coloring I've ever seen. And I've worked with pencils, I've worked with brushes, I love watercolor, that's my real forte. And, but these alcohol markers are to die for. They're very easy to work with and not intimidating in the least. So, you can get very creative. Okay, now this is just a one-tone color that we're working with here. But I'm going to show you how to do a two-tone when we get to the flowers. I will suggest that if you're going around the cake, go around all the flowers especially, okay? Because when you cut this out, rather than seeing a white border, because it's going on a chocolate cake, you want to see the chocolate border. Okay, so, and also with, now right in here you'll see it's a little confusing. You see the cake through the little decorative flower pieces there. But you'll want to get right in here, in between. And anywhere there's cake behind it, you want to make sure that you go around the flowers with the dark pen. Or if you're different colored cake. If you're doing a strawberry cake, then just make sure you go in between. So that when you're next to the flowers, next to the leaves, I mean, you're going to be, when you cut this out, you're going to see that it lays next to the cake. Okay, okay. So let's go ahead and go to the flowers. Okay. Now the flowers, what I did was I did them first in, it's called the dark seaside spray. And you can just go in a circle, and I like to reserve the edges of flowers for white. I reserve the white, it's called reserving the white. And you don't need to go too far ahead of yourself when you're working with a blend. You want to be able to you can kind of leave it loosely capped here. And I go to the darker. And I'm blending this with the dark Night of Navy. With the blends, you get, if you got them in a combo pack, you get a light and a dark marker. But if you're cramped for money and can't do both sets, I would suggest that you just get maybe one set of darks and learn to blend them like this. Okay, so see how we added the dark as a highlight. Then you bring the lighter color back in to blend it so that there's no mark, there's no starting and stopping line when you use the one color over the other. You want them to blend together. So in here again, we'll start right here. So you want to find out or think about maybe ahead of time which direction your light is coming from. Again, this is our stamp set here is really easy to work with, because if you'll notice, there's lines within the stamp here that indicates the areas that may or should be darker. You have additional lines there. So, and I'll show you. I'm probably out of camera here. Let's get closer. Okay, is that going to show it right here? You have some lines right there. But generally speaking, you know, anytime you have another part of the flower sitting behind another one, right at the points of connection, you'll have either a shadow or something that causes it to be a little darker there. Like right in there, you want to add that. And like right there maybe. And that's just, you know, the artist's conception of it, okay? And this is your rendition. So you can basically do with it whatever you please. But in defining, okay, what I did with my second card, or the one we're making, it will be a little bit darker than the example that I have. Okay, chose to do it a little bit different. So here we have, and I like to start with the light color. And so I would go over the light, again reserving the tips of the flower for white, for light basically. Okay, right there. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because you want it to blend well. Okay. And again, you can see the areas like right here that's darker, indicating that you want to add a little dark color there. Okay. We have some on the leaves as well. So we'll just add, to start, we're just going to add it where we have these dark lines. Right there. And right there. So if we just stuck to that, we'd be fine. And then we want to go back and blend that color in. And then if you want to add more, you can. And that's what I did. I chose to add a little bit more on mine, so I like to go right between the flowers. And anytime you have an area that's behind the other one. Okay. And a little closer to the bulb, the center here. Okay. Again, we'll think about reserving the white, because when we add our final stage of we add the glimmer. Okay, So that gives you an idea of how you would do that, okay? And again, you've got the leaves up here. Let's do some leaves. They're the same way. We have a light and dark in a leaf color here. We'll start with a light. And we don't want we want the nub because we're working in such tight quarters. Okay, so you notice we have a center line there that would most likely call for, and right on this leaf here, calls for a darker line. And it's just to add highlight. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to add that, and that. And we'll go back over it with the light, okay? And you'll see how it blends well. Okay. Okay, very good. And if you notice, I've been taking off my caps wrong. You're supposed to take them off like that, and not pull them the way I do. Not like that, but like that. Okay, and I also added a center in my floral pieces of Cajun Craze. I like that bright orange center. I think that just really adds to it. Okay, so the way we're going to do this now is we take this, if this were painted in, I wanted to show another thing to you. There's also, you get a, this is called a, well, it's a color lifter is what it's called. And it's white, it's clear marker is what it is. And anytime you go over the lines or you do something that you don't want the color there, you would just go over it and it lifts the color. Like if I were to change my mind right here, that's too far over. See how it takes the color away? Okay, as it dries, it'll dry clear now. And then it just pushes it back in there. So you definitely want to invest in your color lifter when you purchase your blends. So, okay. So we'll take this over to the die cut machine and we'll cut these out. And I've already done that to save time, since I have a tendency of going pretty slow. So I colored the cake and then I colored the flowers, okay? And to put this together, what we're going to have to do is we're going to remove the cake plate on this, on the cake here. Just remove it right here. Okay. Okay, and we're going to adhere this right there. I'm going to do that with glue, with our Tombow. And we just need to put a fine bead right here. There we go. Oops, very fine bead, Diana. I got too much on there. Let me get something to get that off with. Okay, so now we're going to We put some adhesive on that. We put the Tombow on there, and now we're just setting our plate on there, making sure that we get it even on both sides. Okay, and I should put that on my adhesive mat, my silicone mat, because adhesives do not stick to your silicone mat. That's the good part. And if I put that down on my table, it would make things stick. So there we go. We've got that there. Okay. Now we're going to put this up on dimensionals. But in the meantime, I want to, we want to stick our little decorative pieces next to it too. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. So we're going to find these. Okay, let's get these over here. Okay. We're going to, we can't, one thing we have to be aware of when we're putting things like this on here, we can't let it get outside the edges of the envelope that we're going to be putting this in. So we have to keep it in mind. Remember where our boundaries are, huh? Okay, we have a piece right, I can't see the right side of that, okay. Right here. It kind of looks like antlers, doesn't it? Let's do this right down here. Let's do that right there. That looks good. Will that look good? I need to get this closer for me. Okay, we're going to set that right there. Right there, right there. Okay, very good. Okay. Looks like we have a party going on, huh? So that will fit just like that. Well, I want that a little, let's pull that over here. I want that to angle more. See, if I make mistakes and you won't, how's that? Okay, I want that to go in this direction more. There you go. That looks much better. That's more, yeah, that looks better. That way it's not covering the happy birthday. Okay. So now we want to adhere this. Okay, we want to adhere this to our card. Okay. We have we don't put a lot of adhesive on here, otherwise it buckles and gets really hard over time, and it just doesn't look pretty. This is something I've tested, and it just doesn't look nice when you put too much adhesive on there. It really looks better with less and than more. Back our lens up a bit. There you go. That's much better. We get a better view here. Okay, and now we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. we're going to get about 1/8 of an inch border here. And the way to do that is you work on 3 sides at a time. If you can see 3 sides, and 4 sides will automatically fall into place just like that. Okay. A lot of adhesive there. Okay. So, okay, and now we're just going to adhere this cake plate to the front of our card. Looks like our little cake plate a little crooked there, but I don't think you can tell it from the front. I don't think that's noticeable, but we're going to set that right there. I'm going to press that down and hold it a bit. Okay, now we're going to make a little ribbon for the front. And I just received my order in today on the newest it's called the Ornate Garden. These are Ornate Garden ribbons, and I just received that in today. I was waiting for that. So I'll do that later this week and show you what it's all about. You'll enjoy that as well. Lots of fun stuff in the making. Yeah. You know what? When you try to do this on camera, it never works. Okay. There. Now we can adjust it. Just adjust that down a bit. Let's see, does this side look better? Let's fiddle with it a bit, make it straight, make it work. Because we're going to put this down with a glue dot and call it a day. Yeah, I think I like this side best. Yeah, I'm going to redo it. Sorry. It's way big. Come on. Bows are not this difficult, people. I promise you they're not. Okay. There we go. Much better. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to trim it like that. Give it a little haircut. Put it on a glue dot. Press it down. And we are good to go. Now I did put a greeting on the inside of mine, and I decorated the inside of my card. So we can do that here as well. Okay, this is the inside, and we're going to stamp it with since we have Cajun Craze, let's use Cajun Craze stamp. Inky, stamping ink. Well, no, I can't get to it. And I'm just going to eyeball this to you. Okay, it looks pretty good. And we have a little doodah there. Okay, I'll just show you how I did this one on the inside, and I will do this one later. And I just, happy birthday to you. We did a little run of the color there on the inside. And where's my trim? Can't see my trim here. Well, it looks like I have to trim it. Here it is, but I'll have to cut it in half. We're going to do like a 3/4 of an inch. Okay. So we're going to put adhesive on this side. Whoopsie daisy. We're going to add it right here, just to the edge. We're going to go all the way right here to the edge. Okay, right there. And then we're going to flip this over. Oops. There we go, right there. Okay. Oops, I got adhesive on my fingers. And we'll trim this other side. Oh, I've got adhesive there. I've got shears that I can use. These are my scissors I use for when I have gunk on them. I don't want to mess my others up. Okay. Now we want to add some adhesive to the back of this. Like this. We'll put it on the inside of our card here. And again, we have about 1/4 of an inch on, or 1/8 of an inch on all sides. And so you do that by doing 2 sides, then 3 sides, and then when you do that, you've got all 4 sides down. It's very easy to figure. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with me, spending the time. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and ask that you subscribe and share. Sharing would be the best thing you could do for me in this industry. It helps me to do the things that I need to do and getting my products out there to people, and I give away a lot of things. In fact, if you share this video, you will be entered in a drawing for a prize. I haven't quite figured that one out, but if you make a if you go online and make a purchase of $100, you'll be in the drawing for this set. This is the complete set of the lily, the lovely lily pad, with the dies, with the paper that comes with it. These are all free products, and you would have to spend $150 to get them. But if you spend $100, I would enter you into the drawing to receive it. And so you would, on my next video, I would pull the drawing for this within a week. Okay, so this is you'll receive a full pack, and these are brand new, never used. And if you're